support of the annual fund to increase Rotarian engagement with our foundation. The idea behind this is that if every Rotarian gave at least $25 to the annual fund yearly, what the foundation could accomplish would multiply. As this slide shows, in fiscal year 21, our Rotarians accomplished a lot. Imagine all the good District 5010 could do if we could increase E-rate percentage from that 48.4% to 75%, 80%, or even 85% of your donors giving at least $25 to the annual fund every year. And when they do, be sure to celebrate your E-Ray donors in your club by distributing E-Ray badge stickers to those who qualify. They're available through our licensed vendor, Russell Hampton, and that's email web address of bestclubsupplies.com, and they're free of charge. These stickers are a great way to get the culture going and to get the conversation going around E-Ray. And without sustained support of the annual fund, the programs of the Rotary Foundation cannot happen. But with the contribution of $100 from every member every year, we can nearly double our efforts to help people in need. Someone who contributes $100 or more to the annual fund every year is a Rotary Foundation sustaining member. And they can easily do this for just $10 a month through our Rotary Direct program, which is our recurring giving program. And I'll talk more about that in just a bit. Our donors' philanthropic goals do vary, and we have recognition levels no matter what their philanthropic goal is. Two of our most well-known recognitions are the Paul Harris Fellow and Paul Harris Society. And here I'd like to take just a moment to say thank you to everyone who's on this call that's a Paul Harris Fellow, or if you're a Paul Harris Society member, or regardless of any recognition that you have, thank you so much for all that you do to support our foundation. The Paul Harris Fellow is achieved through a combination of points given to a donor and dollars they've contributed. Contributions to the annual fund, Polio Plus Fund, approved foundation grants, and the Disaster Response Fund accumulate Paul Harris Fellow recognition and foundation recognition points. However, contributions to the endowment fund do not. Once a participant reaches a $1,000 level through a combination of points and dollars, the recognition is automatically shipped and it goes to the club president. Now, the Paul Harris Society is a little bit different. We refer to the Paul Harris Society as a PHS. This is a commitment to give annually $1,000 to the annual fund, Polio Plus, disaster response, or an approved global grant. Last year, the generosity of our Paul Harris Society members contributed to just under 18% of annual fund gifts. That's $24.8 million in contributions towards future district and global grants. Just an amazing amount of money. Here I've included a snapshot of District 5010's Paul Harris Society. Your district has 58 donors enrolled in the Paul Harris Society. And of those 58, 64.29% of them are making that annual contribution of $1,000. As a district, we have an opportunity to grow in this area by educating donors on the importance of Paul Harris Society, reaching out to those donors that are giving at the $1,000 level but have not enrolled yet and asking them if they'd like to join, and reaching out to those that have not met their commitment for the year and asking if they would contribute. An easy way for our donors to achieve Paul Harris Society is, again, through Rotary Direct, and that's an $85 contribution per month. These are just two of our recognitions, and Elizabeth will talk about Major Donor and Big Pass Society in just a bit. We also award recognition to clubs for achieving outstanding giving. The 100% Foundation Giving banner recognizes clubs whose members give an average of $100 to any foundation fund, with every member contributing at least $25, and that's every active member. Every Rotarian Every Year Club banner recognizes clubs whose members give an average of $100 to the annual fund, with every member contributing at least $25 to the annual fund, again, active members. 100% Paul Harris Society banner recognizes clubs whose active members are all Paul Harris Fellows. Now, this is a one-time recognition, and the district governor will send in a club recognition summary to show that this recognition has been achieved. The 100% Paul Harris Society Club banner recognizes clubs whose members contribute at least $1,000 to the annual fund, Polio Plus Fund, or an approved grant during a given year. Now, two of the easiest ways and most secure ways for our donors to support our foundation is through Rotary Direct and our online giving platform. As I mentioned, Rotary Direct is our recurring giving program, and this program allows our donors to enroll in automated giving, whether that be through their credit card, debit card, or a checking account. And they can choose to have deductions taken out on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. It's a great alternative to sending several checks a year and worrying about making annual contributions on time. As the slide shows, Rotary Direct has seen significant growth over the past year, and District 5010 has 90 members enrolled. That's about 6% of your district membership. Again, we need your support to help educate members and encourage them to enroll in this program. Some things you can do, you can set up a laptop during a club meeting and have a Rotary Direct enrollment drive, and even incentivize members to enroll by offering a points match for each enrollment. If I could just suggest one thing, when you do encourage members to enroll in Rotary Direct, please be specific and ask that they enroll in annual fund share. This will ensure that those district designated funds come back to your district to support your projects. Our online giving platform is also an option for our donors. Utilization of our online giving platform has seen a significant increase in the past year of almost 31%. This increase shows that our donors are adapting to using this technology and giving online. This is the best and fastest way to contribute, and for the best and fastest way for your contribution to be processed. This is especially true at year end, whether that be calendar or fiscal year end. On this platform, you can also sign up for Rotary Direct. Another cool feature of our online giving platform is the ability to make a memorial or tribute gift. Also, if you're a club officer, this is where you can make a contribution on behalf of your club or club members. And it's so much faster and easier than using the multiple donor form and sending in checks. Now, all my club foundation chairs out there, you may be saying, that's great, Adina, but then how do I know who contributed if they didn't give me the money? Well, there's this fabulous report that's available to you called the Contribution Detail Report. It's a great resource to you as a club or district leader. As you can see, the report has 3 tabs. The first is a fund summary, and it does just that. It summarizes the fund giving in your club. The donor summary summarizes donor giving for the year. And the donor detail is like a transaction detail. It shows every gift as it came in, including the donor name, gift date, gift method, gift amount, and fund designation. Now, this report does contain personal data, and it's important that we be aware of Rotary's donor privacy policy and take care when we're using this report. And I also ask that you shred the report if you print it once you're done using it, or delete it from your email once you're done using it. One other thing that's important to note is that this report is not available online, and you will need to request it from our Rotary Support Center. And I've highlighted here their phone number and their email address where you can submit that request. So let's take a brief moment to take a look at how we can access our reports through My Rotary. Hopefully everyone on this call is registered. If not, my assignment to you is, once we finish the call, to go register on My Rotary. You will need access to My Rotary so that you can access reports and information relative to your club. So when you log into My Rotary, you're going to hover on the Rotary Foundation. Don't click on it because it will open a whole nother page. Just hover and this drop down will appear. On this drop down, click on Foundation Reports. That will bring you to the reports page. As a quick note, you can also access your own personal donor history report here if you're interested in your own giving. So to get to the foundation reports, we're going to go ahead and scroll down to the contributions and recognition section, which is located under club reports. Before we get into reports, I want to share with you a really cool trick that can help you access reports easily, and that's the quick links. A clear star next to a reports category indicates that that report can be added to your quick links. Click on the star and then click on add to my quick links, and the star will turn purple. What this does is adds this category to your landing page on My Rotary or to the quick link section located in the upper right-hand side of your reports page. So you don't have to scroll anywhere once you've added this. You just go to that area and select view reports. Now, there's so many useful reports that are available, but we only have time to go over 2 today. But I will encourage you to go back into this report section and click on every one of these reports and take a look at all the information that's available there. So let's take a look at the club recognition summary. I talked briefly about Rotary Direct, and club leaders can view who in the club is enrolled in Rotary Direct on this report. It's important to keep in mind this report is a recognition report and not a contribution report. The club recognition summary is a favorite among leaders, and it has information such as how many foundation points are available, foundation recognition points, I'm sorry for my misstep there, are available in the club, as well as how many each individual in your club has. The club foundation recognition points are awarded in appreciation for personal contributions from an individual or an organization. And they're only transferable to other individuals to help them achieve their Paul Harris Fellow or each subsequent level, or for an organization to be recognized with a certificate of appreciation. Points accumulate 1 for 1 for every dollar contributed. The recognition amount column indicates how close the donor is achieving their first or next Paul Harris Fellow. As I mentioned earlier, gifts to the endowment fund are not eligible for Paul Harris Fellow recognition, and they won't be included in this column. This report is intended for tracking and recognition points, and for confidentiality reasons, I ask that you don't use it as a contribution report, and it will not track any gifts over 9,000. If the club has achieved a 100% Paul Harris Fellow Club banner in the past, it will appear right up here under the club's name. And lastly, you can view everyone's last contribution date and the club's all-time giving right here. The club recognition summary has some useful information on the last few pages. It includes a glossary, and it includes the PHF levels and the pin that comes along with it. The Club Foundation Banner Report is available to club and district leaders. This report can be used to identify members and club engagement with the foundation by showing the club's progress towards achieving club giving banners and individual member giving status. The club snapshot at the top includes information such as E-rate percentage, per capita, and the density of members with Paul Harris Society giving capacity. You'll also be able to see a snapshot of information on each individual's members giving in these recognition categories for the year. However, it will not show you the dollar amounts, but it will give you indicators such as whether they've made an E-rate eligible gift of $25 to the annual fund or a Paul Harris Society eligible gift of over $1,000. This report will also show you which members utilize Rotary Direct. So let's circle back to that question that I asked earlier. What good could your club or district do with that additional $10,000 in DDF? Now that you have some additional tools, here are some examples. And by increasing every Rotarian every year percentage from 48.4% to 75, 80, or even 85% or more, increasing commitments to the Paul Harris Society, engaging donors and projects, and sharing the Rotary story, we can make sure that all this good happens. Thank you again for being here with us today, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Adina. As always, you're very, very specific, and have such a wide knowledge that it's really helpful. So why don't we take a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most, and ask questions of Adina before Elizabeth gets on. Anybody have questions? Andre, you had one in the chat, I believe. Did you get it answered? Do I need to unmute you?
No, I just unmuted myself. I saw one of your graphics, Adina, that showed the number of giving members. It was like 22,000 something. And so I know that that's not a district percentage because we only have about 1,600 members. So was that worldwide? Was that zone? Was that district wide? Or was it?
Was that on the Paul Harris Society slide that you're referring to?
I don't know. It was one of your earlier slides, and I just had a question about what that percentage was from.
Yeah. So I did include on our Paul Harris Society slide the worldwide and the district numbers, and the worldwide Paul Harris Society members was 27,683, and District 5010 is 58.
So that's the amount going to annual giving across our entire district.
Those are the amount of donors enrolled in, Rotarians enrolled in Paul Harris Society. Now, not all of those are annual fund, most likely. Some people do enroll in Paul Harris Society and give to Polio Plus, for example. But most often our PHS members are enrolled to give to annual fund.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have questions? Go ahead and just speak up. Steve, go ahead.
Thanks. Thank you for your presentation. I'm pretty new to this, and it would be nice to have this really early on as opposed to in Foundation Month. That's just a heads up for somebody next year. Anyway, I was curious. I know you mentioned Paul Harris Society folks. I have a couple on my list that signed up years ago, but I don't think they are engaged anymore. And I presume that counts towards our numbers as well. Of course, you could do the hard court press and say, hey, pony up. But any recommendations on folks who aren't, who are listed as sustaining members but don't? And also, another question. We have in essence, our club has a mandatory sustaining member standing rule. So I didn't know how many other folks do that as well. Is that common in other clubs? Thank you.
You're welcome. So to answer your first question, there is sometimes confusion between Paul Harris Fellows and Paul Harris Society, we found, where Rotarians or donors are looking just to get their first Paul Harris Fellow, but inadvertently enroll in the Paul Harris Society. So if you see someone has not been giving for years at the Paul Harris Society level, we recommend reaching out to them and just having a conversation with them. They might not even know they're enrolled in the Paul Harris Society. Could be one thing. Another could be, we often see individuals that are enrolled via Rotary Direct. If their Rotary Direct giving stops for any reason, or if they miss a month, that will not make them appear as having met the commitment for that year. So there's several things that could be going on, and the conversation is the best way to go about it. It's not a hard press, just this is what we've noticed. Would you like to continue to stay enrolled, or would you like us to remove you from the Paul Harris Society? And to answer your second question, we also hear often that clubs have a contribution included in their dues. This has to be a voluntary contribution. It's actually against our code of policy to have a mandatory contribution included in dues. So hopefully the clubs that do it have an option to opt out of this for those members that don't want to. Our team and most foundation teams discourage this because it's not really creating that culture of giving. Donors are just giving with their dues and not necessarily having a second thought about engaging or giving more, where if you choose to give a gift, then you're learning what programs we're working with, what projects you can be a part of, and engaging in actually making that donation. So we do discourage having dues linked with contributions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jess has a question. Go ahead, Jess.
Okay, two things. First, I was just going to share something that District Governor-elect Mike Ferris has done. He's been a longtime foundation chair of my previous club in Anchorage South, and during foundation, and this is just kind of a takeaway for everyone that's trying to engage people to maybe do more online giving, which I am a huge proponent of. It's kind of like for any nonprofit that you want to support, it's easy in, easy out. So I'm a big believer in that he would either ask members of the club that, because in Alaska, a lot of us have a lot of Alaska airline miles. We would give like 25,000 Alaska airline miles for anyone that was already logged into online giving, no matter the dollar amount, and those that would then enter in. So then at the end of the foundation month, he would pull a name and somebody got 25,000 airline miles. So just a generous thing. It's not something anyone's has to do, but a lot of us do have extra miles kind of laying around, I guess. So that's an incentive to get people to give online. And one thing I was going to ask, I guess I've never really done the math that $85 a month is very affordable to be a Paul Harris Society member. And what I was going to ask, I sent a message to Diane, is I think I'm giving quarterly now. How do I change my giving to do it monthly so then I can be a Paul Harris Society member? Do I have to cancel my already, or do I just adjust it? Because I went on to my Rotary when we were talking. So I was like, how do I do this so I can get this done now?
So when you go into My Rotary in the upper right-hand corner, it should have a drop down that you can select, and it should say My Donations in there. And you should be
Okay.
able to click in there and go to the Rotary Direct section and make that adjustment.
Okay, perfect.
It's
Thank
super
you so much.
simple.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your contributions.
Yep.
A good question. Any other questions? I'll look for chats, which I don't see any, or hands.
This is-
Okay, well, go
I-
ahead,
I-
Andre.
I've got a question. Yesterday I was going in trying to pull up some reports, and recently I've taken over as foundation chair for my club while they're looking for a permanent individual in that. And when it comes to downloading the reports, in some cases, the president is the only one that can download the report. And it may be just a function that they've signed me up to be foundation chair and club runner, but it hasn't somehow transferred over to My Rotary. But when I tried to print out some of the reports as foundation chair, I could not generate the reports. And so I'm wondering, is that by design, or is there something we're not doing that makes me allowed to see those reports as a foundation chair?
As a foundation chair, you will have access to those reports. So it's very possible that you're not listed as a foundation chair in our system. And then that's why that access is not coming through. And I'm looking right now as we speak. It looks like they just entered you as foundation chair as of November 11th. So if you sign out and refresh your browser, you should have access to those reports.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And if not, you can email me and I can take a look at it, Andre, further for you.
Okay, I don't see any other questions. We will have another question and answer period at the end of Elizabeth. So Elizabeth Cruft Anderson is our Rotary Foundation Major Giving person, and she's very smart. She is an attorney and she is in Portland. So Elizabeth, you're welcome to introduce yourself a little bit more.
Good morning. It's really nice to be here, and thank you, Diane, for setting this up and for the opportunity to chat with you. I should first off say that I'm not an attorney. I only play one on TV. So your actual tax and legal questions should be directed to your tax and legal professionals, but I can help you there. So thank you, Adina, for your really great presentation as well. And I just, as a club and a district, in the clubs in the district, the primary person that you're probably going to be seeking information from and connecting with is probably Adina. She's going to help you, do those kind of broader fundraising activities, your Paul Harris Society, your polio, those kind of things in your club. where I kind of come into the picture is to work with your major gifts. And that could be, and primarily those are the folks that all, you're sitting down at the club for lunch, or you're in a conversation and someone says, oh, I'm selling my business, or I'm selling my vacation home, or I'm going to be traveling a lot this next year. And you kind of get a little bit of an inkling that maybe this individual has a little bit of capacity to make a more significant gift to Rotary. The other type of giving is somebody who's looking to maximize their tax benefit for giving. They're looking for kind of unique ways to give, and I'll go over that a little bit in my presentation. And that's kind of what I'm hoping to share with you today, are some of those ways to give that you might not ordinarily hear about in traditional kind of foundation presentations. And really, it's just so that you can kind of have those in the back of your mind, that you know that these opportunities exist for your members. So you can say, have you thought of Rotary to help you with that? And that could be something. So I'm gonna try and start my presentation here. Give me. Are you? There we go. So I should start off by saying that I am very excited to support your district. I am actually physically located. I've been with the Rotary Foundation for 11 years, always in the role of a major gift officer. So working with donors who are giving $10,000 or more in any of the weird and wondrous ways that you can give. I am physically based in Portland, Oregon. So I have sort of arm wrestled for your district for a long time, because I feel that it's a little easier for me to support your district being US based, and some of the US tax and financial pieces that come along with that, as well as just being a little bit closer to your time zone too. So I should start off too by saying that you should feel very proud to have our foundation accessible to you as a Rotarian and your membership as well. We came into, this has been a really kind of wild time for a lot of nonprofits and a lot of individuals. This has been kind of a roller coaster through COVID, but the foundation came into this time in a position of stability. So we are doing fine. We've actually seen an increase in giving. We've seen significant major gifts during the past year. Something to keep in mind too is that although a huge bulk of your effort will go into the important work of just encouraging your members to give and E-Ray, major gifts can have a really major impact. And overall, a major gift, most organizations, 80% of the giving is coming from 10% of the donors. So encouraging and keeping your ear to the ground for some of these major gift opportunities can really have a huge impact on the work that you want to do in your district. You can certainly share with your membership that the Rotary Foundation has, again, actually 13 years now. We just got notification from Charity Navigator that we have been rated a 4-star charity, and that's the leading charity nonprofit rating service, and you can look that up on Charity Navigator. And that is because of our transparency and the use of funds. So you should feel very proud to be able to share with your membership that Rotary is doing well, and also has been recognized for being a charity of choice. This slide is slightly out of date, but I thought I would put up here before I start talking about the ways to give, just to show you, where does the money go? Where are these gifts going, and where are Rotarians' primary interests? And even though this is sort of 2014 to 2018, it generally holds true, with the exception of that we do have an additional area of focus, which is the environment now. We haven't seen any grants to the environment. This is the first year that will start happening. However, you can see from this that Rotarians still remain very committed to water and sanitation. It continues to grow and continues to be the highest area of granting from the foundation, and disease prevention and treatment. So polio and all of those related things, polio doesn't just act alone. When we do these polio campaigns, we're also immunizing against other preventable diseases, and we're providing the infrastructure oftentimes for the health of a particular region. So we're screening for other health and providing other health opportunities for people while we're doing these polio campaigns as well. So, and I know that your district has been committed to water and sanitation as well. And there's been a number of grants over the years. So it's really wonderful work. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and just sort of tip our toes a little bit again into some of the ways that donors can make a major gift. And this is a gift of $10,000 or more. So one of the great things to keep in mind is the Rotary Foundation is big enough and diverse enough to be able to handle almost any type of gift. I recently was speaking with a donor, and it's not uncommon for someone to say, it's really hard to give away a lot of money. And that really is true. I mean, you can't always give a really, large gift or leave a large bequest to a club, for example. They might not know what to do with those funds. If you're leaving $500,000 in your will or estate, which happens fairly frequently, you really have to be careful about where you're investing those funds or making a gift outright. And the Rotary Foundation is able to handle those funds. So cash, of course, something that folks don't always quite know is that you can also make a pledge for a major gift. So one great group to look at is your Paul Harris Society. So if you have donors that are giving $1,000 a year, they can do a pledge for $10,000, a major gift, be recognized as a major donor, and they give $3,000 for 3 years, $3,333 for 3 years, and you can pledge that out. So if you're looking to do a campaign in your club or your district to raise major donors and major gifts, you might want to kind of look at that segment of Paul Harris Society folks and see who might just be able to move up to that $3,000 giving level for 3 years. So that's just one way to encourage major gifts. Appreciated securities, stock gifts are increasingly more popular as our market continues to grow. People have a lot of funds invested in stock that can be very tax advisable way to make a gift to charity. Life insurance, and I'll talk about some of these a little bit later on, real estate, IRA giving, life income agreements, and donor advised funds. I'll talk about those in a little bit more detail. So there are two main recognition types for the type of work that I work with. And a major donor, of course, is anybody who has given outright or cumulatively $10,000 or more. Arch Clump Society is a very special recognition of $250,000 or more, which is made outright or cumulatively. So frequently, someone who has been in Rotary for a long time might have given over time about $100,000, and they say, how much further do I need to get to Arch Clump Society? You can do a pledge for that. Okay, well, I know I have, I'm inheriting an estate from my parents, and I know over the next few years I might have to do something with that additional funds. And I should say, rarely is the Arch Clump Society someone who's writing a check for $250,000. I mean, I've been with Rotary 11 years, and that has happened maybe only a handful of times. Oftentimes they are these sort of blended gifts. It's a different types of gifts that we're helping to strategize how that person can reach Arch Clump Society. Bequest Society is future commitments. So that is someone who has left Rotary in their will or estate into the future. So we don't see those funds now, we see them in the future. And new as of 2019 is the Legacy Society, which is donors who've left $1 million or more in their will or estate. And we are starting to see more of these gifts as just the size of estates have grown. House prices have gone up, and people are looking to give away more during give away more rather than having it passed down to heirs. So this is sort of a repeat slide. Adina mentioned that, showed this a little earlier, but keep in mind that a major gift can be given to any area of the foundation. So it can be made to support the annual fund. It can be made to polio. Major gifts to the polio fund are incredibly impactful because we currently have a 2-to-1 match from the Gates Foundation. So if you love, the bake sale and you love to take money out of Bill Gates' wallet, giving to polio right now at any level is a great place to give, because it'll be matched 2-to-1. And the endowment fund, which I'll talk a little bit more about, is the area that I primarily work in major gifts, because these provide ongoing support to the foundation and really are also we kind of call legacy gifts. So if it's a larger gift, putting it into the annual fund might not be the best place to put it, because those funds are going to be used right away. If they go into the endowment, they're going to provide a long-term support for the district. So if you think about, if someone's making a gift to the endowment for share, endowment fund share, they make this gift. Share means that it's going to come back and provide ongoing support to your district into perpetuity. So it's going to provide ongoing funds, ongoing DDF funds to your district into perpetuity. There are some unique opportunities with major gifts to make to specific disaster response and to specific directed gifts. And a directed gift, all these really are, is a way to say, if you're giving over 15,000, the donor can specify where they want that gift to happen in the world, the time frame in which they want it to happen, and the district they want it to support. So if someone's looking to make a major gift, they can kind of make a gift of a grant to a district. So it replaces the World Fund portion with a directed gift. So a donor who says, I don't really know exactly what I want to give, but I know that I need to give this certain amount and I want it to use right away rather than sitting in the endowment, they can in essence give a gift of a grant to the district, which provides you with those funds to go ahead and do that work. So I'm talking a little bit about the endowment fund, as where this again is where most of the large gifts go. Gifts to the endowment can be made today or committed into the future as bequests. They can be made to share, which provides funding back to your district for DDF. They can be made to the World Fund. The World Fund is another word for just out there to do good in the world. They can go to the Rotary Peace Centers or to any of the 7 areas of focus. The endowment funds are never fully expended. However, the spendable earnings are calculated each year and provide ongoing support to fund Rotary programs and grants. So the endowment currently has a total value of 1.43 billion. And the trustees have set a goal to reach 2.25 billion by the year 2025. So what does that really mean? That means if the endowment size of the endowment is $2 billion, it means there's $50 million a year coming back to do grants. So your clubs and your district will have more opportunities to do grants and projects that they want to do. So I'm a storyteller. I like to tell stories, and I'm going to tell you a little story here. So donors are increasingly looking at ways to give. Major donors are becoming more sophisticated, and they're looking for ways to grow their gifts over time. So I'm going to hypothetically come up with Rotarians Bob and Mary Smith. And so Bob and Mary have decided, along with their children and their CPA, of course, to make a gift to the foundation this year. They love participating in water and sanitation projects. You might even know Bob and Mary in your club. They're the ones that raise their hand every time there's a project, and they love water projects, and they have decided that they're going to invest in Rotary. They decide to take advantage of some tax savings by making an outright gift of appreciated securities this year. And so they make a stock gift of $25,000. I work with them to create the Bob and Mary Smith Endowed Family Fund for Water and Sanitation. So now they have a named fund within the endowment. They then decide they want to grow this fund over their lifetime. So they continue to give to this fund each year. And then they decide that they want to even further specify this fund to projects in Indonesia. They become more and more involved in the specific projects in Indonesia. They also hope this is a way to keep their children involved as well. So they now have the Bob and Mary Smith Family Fund for Water Projects in Indonesia that was started with a gift of $25,000 and they've given to over time. And now they've decided that they can include their bequest with it as well. So they then decide to make a future gift that will additionally fund their named fund within the endowment. And what this is doing is it's growing it and providing a legacy gift for them. Their name will forever be tied to the grants that come off that. So if your district or any district in the world does a grant for water and sanitation, it'll come from the Bob and Mary Smith Fund. It leaves a beautiful legacy. Their family continues to give to it. Their friends can continue to give to it. And during their lifetime, they'll receive reports on how those funds are used. This is kind of a real world example of that. This actually was a gift given in 1995 of $25,000, and you can see over time the cumulative spending. So it has spent over 38,000. The market value is over 36,000. So the total value of this $25,000 gift given in 1995 as of 2019 is over 80,000. So it's grown over the years, even though there's been ups and downs in the market. So I'm going to kind of go through these really quickly. Again, you don't need to be an expert in any of these. I'm here as a resource for you or anybody. You can always just bounce someone to me as you keep your ears on the ground. But I'm going to go very quickly through these sort of unique ways to give. Bequests are a great place to start. So these are obviously folks who have left Rotary in their will or estate, and you can create a individual named endowment with a bequest. So making Rotary a beneficiary of your life insurance policy or retirement asset can be a great place as well. Recently, we've seen an increased interest in naming Rotary as a beneficiary of a retirement plan due to the Secure Act. Since the Secure Act eliminated the stretch IRA, many donors are finding it beneficial to leave retirement assets to charity while leaving more tax-favored assets to their heirs. IRA rollovers. So if you are 70 and a half, happy birthday. And you will, of course, know that there are going to be some, you're going to have to start taking from that IRA. So you can transfer up to $100,000 a year without paying federal income tax by giving directly to Rotary from your IRA. It won't increase your adjusted gross income. So this approach can be particularly helpful if your current withdrawals subject you to Social Security or a higher level of taxation. As a provision of the CARES Act, these direct transfers to charity now start to count towards your required minimum distribution at age 72. So whether you need the funds in the IRA or not, at age 72, you will be required to make a withdrawal and pay income tax on a portion of them each year. So if you don't need the income, making a qualified distribution can be a great way to make an annual or major gift. So this is an increasingly popular way to give. So just quickly, I work with a lot of donors who take advantage of charitable gift annuities and charitable remainder trusts. And a charitable gift annuity is really just a way to make a gift. It's an irrevocable gift of $10,000 or more. And it's a bit like giving Rotary the apple tree. You give Rotary a gift of $10,000 or more, and you receive income back from that every year for your lifetime, for a spouse's lifetime. Usually it's for 2 lifetimes. And it's a nice way to receive income back. You get a tax deduction the year that you make it, and you kind of get to eat the apples throughout your lifetime from that apple tree. And at the end of it, the tree goes to Rotary and funds the projects that you most care about. When I said that a lot of folks who become Arch Clump Society are doing different types of gifts, this is a really popular way that folks are becoming Arch Clump Society, is through a trust or annuity. You receive major donor or AKS recognition as well as the tax benefit when you make the gift. An example of a charitable remainder trust, I'm actually going to use the story from my own club. I am a Rotarian in Lake Oswego, Oregon. And I was sitting next to someone at lunch. His name is Don, and he does let me use his name and he'll tell his story because he loves it. And I was sitting next to Don, and Don was telling me, he was complaining about his beach property. He had a property out on the Oregon coast, and he was sort of tired of managing this vacation property. He'd used it, he'd bought it many years ago. His family had enjoyed it. Nobody really wanted to go to the beach house anymore. He was tired of fixing the fence and mowing the lawn and the upkeep of this and paying taxes on this property. And he said, oh, I should just sell this beach house that I have. And at the same time, he kind of mentioned to me, oh, and I'm selling my business as well. I'm retiring and I'm selling my business. So two things come into my mind. One is he has a piece of property he wants to get rid of. He's also a great Rotarian, most importantly. He's always the one to raise his hand and donate to a project in the club. He cares about Rotary. He also is going to have a taxable event in his life through the retirement and the sale of his business. So what I ended up doing with Don was he donated the beach house to the Rotary Foundation. He received the tax benefit of that donation, and the Rotary Foundation sold that property in partnership with him, and we put it into a trust. So now what happens is Don has sold the property into a trust, and the trust is going to continue to grow and provides him money back every year through the rest of his lifetime. So Don thinks this is a hoot because he gets a check from the Rotary Foundation every year. And he also received a tax benefit for making this gift that we spread out over 3 or 5 years, which is the length of time he needed it to have happen for the sale of his business. So he thinks it's the greatest thing. Every time he gets his annual check from the Rotary Foundation, he's like, Elizabeth, Rotary's paying me. You know, he thinks it's really great. It ended up being a really wonderful way for him to structure the gift. And the icing on the cake was that he became Arch Clump Society. And I said, hey, Don, you're Arch Clump Society. And he said, I'm what? And I said, you're Arch Clump Society. Isn't that great? And he's like, what's the Arch Clump Society? So we got to fly him back to Chicago, do a beautiful ceremony in Chicago. And now he just thinks it's the best thing in the world. He tells everybody about the Arch Clump Society. And it just was kind of the next level of his relationship with the Rotary Foundation. So Don's a happy guy. And it was just a unique way to structure that. And this is my last slide. The donor advised fund is kind of a way to make, it's a boutique option, and it is a way of kind of creating a foundation within the foundation. So if somebody is giving to multiple charities, US-based 501c3 charities, of which Rotary can be one of them, they can make a gift of $10,000 to open this donor advised fund. And it's really their own fund within the Rotary Foundation that checks can be cut directly to any 501c3 charity out of it. It can also go to the Rotary Foundation. It can be a way to pay your Paul Harris Society each month. And it's a unique option that just exists out there. It's very similar to a community foundation type of idea. As a club or a district, rotary.org/legacy. This is where you will find this legacy club and district legacy toolkit. You can find your bequest society cards and a lot of this information in there as well. So certainly check that out. And lastly, Rotary has partnered with freewill.com. So this freewill.com/the Rotary Foundation. So if someone does not have a will already established and they want to include the Rotary Foundation, they can do a basic will for free if they're including the Rotary Foundation. And also you'll find at rotary.planmygift.org or legacy, you will find this little gift illustrator here. And this is sort of, you can play around with it and you can see, you know, if I make a gift of 10,000, how much money will be coming back from an annuity or something like that. And I think I've probably talked for a very long time, but that's it kind of for me. And again, you don't need to know all this information. This is just resources that are available to you. I like to say whatever your university can do, Rotary can do too. And please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm just a phone call or a Zoom and away. So
Thank you very much. I guess you should realize that somebody in district set another meeting up. So Paul, I'll let you ask your question. We have a couple of minutes, but this is being recorded. And I had intended, I guess, to allow more questions, but we might not have too many. Okay.
Oh.
Much time. Go ahead.
I just quickly, I was wondering what the investment, generally you say what the investment strategy is for, let's say, World Endowment and or the endowment fund. In particular, are there any sort of green energy issues that, not investing this and that? And here in Alaska, of course, we have about $80+ billion that's invested. I just was curious generally if you had thoughts about where do you invest the money, this big pot that you have?
So actually that's a great question. And it is all the investment strategy can be found online. I'll actually look it up in a second and put a link in there. So the endowment fund spending policy, I think is what it's called. And I'll email it so that you have it. The endowment fund report each year lists how all the ways that the endowment is actually invested. We do not specifically invest for environmental causes or anything like that. It is something that the trustees have look at every year, and the finance committee is looking at. They're generally looking at growth and general health of the organization. So they're looking at, I'm trying to think of what the term is. It'll come to me, but there's increased interest from Rotarians for funds that are, sustainably invested. So, but I'll send you the endowment fund financial report, and it has a little graph in there. It shows how it's all funded. And I would certainly say if it's something that you're hearing interest in, zap a little note to your trustee that that's something that you're hearing more about too.
Thank you.
Okay, I know that we do have, I guess, another meeting. Mike, I see you're on and you can admit other people, but thank you, Adina and Elizabeth, both very much. You're so helpful, you're so knowledgeable, and this is being recorded. I will transcribe it and put the link onto our website and send it out to everybody. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out directly to them or through me if you have something, but thanks again so much, everybody. And I'll let everybody that's on for the foundation get off. And Mike, you can let everybody who is in for your next meeting on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
So
Thank you,
much.
Diane.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
See you all.
Bye-bye. Okay.
What
so,
is the next meeting, Diane? Is that just curious?
well, Mike, is it the
Oh,
excess
it's-
reserves?
Yeah, it's the Excess Reserves Review Subcommittee.
Okay. So the question is, can I end it just for me and not everybody? Yes, I can. I could just leave the meeting. Okay. Bye, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diane.
I'm going to stop the recording too here, and then I'll let you re-record it.
Yeah, I don't think we've been recording.